And tonight, a Mayport-based Navy ship, the USS Mason, is still overseas fighting alongside Israel. Zach Wilcox continues our coverage tonight. He spoke with Vice Admiral Snyder, retired. He has a long history of service to our country, from a helicopter pilot at Mayport to commanding officer of the USS Baton, and in Washington, D.C., an expert on strategic planning to defend North America at the Pentagon. Zach joins us live now from Mayport. And Zach, Snyder gave you some insight into how the news of Iran's attack impacts sailors on the USS Mason.
Right, Riley. Snyder started off with the kind of the here and now aspect, the immediate aspect of all of this, and that's the missiles that are the hundreds of missiles that are heading toward Israel right now. And he actually pointed out that the sailors on the USS Mason should have some experience with this kind of thing already, with this kind of attack, because they've been spending the past couple of months fending off missiles and drone strikes from the Iranian proxies in Yemen. So they should have some experience with this and feel somewhat comfortable handling a situation like this. And so one thing that perhaps is even weighing bigger on their mind is what exactly Iran's direct involvement in all this means for the future of this war on a whole, kind of the bigger picture here.
I'm sure the sailors are ready for this. It's what they've trained for, and it's what we're there for. So, I'm sure there's a little bit of worry, but also, a real focus on this is our mission. That's what we're here for. It's what we're trained to do, and we're going to get it done.
As someone with decades of military experience, retired Vice Admiral Snyder says the Jacksonville-based sailors on the USS Mason should feel trained to handle Iran's attack, preventing as much damage from the missiles as possible. However, he says those sailors likely have a question in the back of their minds.
But it really sends a signal that Iran is willing to escalate this a little bit. And so the concern is, how far does this go? And what is the Israeli response going to be to it?
Snyder points out Israel has said over and over again it doesn't want Iran to get a nuclear capability.
So is this their excuse or their opportunity to really strike into Iran to try and either destroy or severely limit the Iranians' the ability to develop a nuclear weapon capability?
The USS Carney was also deployed from Mayport into the conflict at one point, and Snyder says the odds of it getting redeployed or other Mayport ships going into the conflict really depend on what Israel does next.
This could be a big deal, and it's something that's going to have to be handled very carefully, both militarily and diplomatically, to try and keep this contained.
Now, Snyder did want to emphasize that the U.S. does already have a really large presence over in the, that area near and around Israel, supporting Israel at this point. So how much more gets sent over there, especially how much more involvement Mayport has, is really going to depend on just how much this all grows as a result of this attack. At Mayport, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.